Hi there, welcome back. Today I want to talk about something that worries established businesses and startups when embarking on new product development, and that is the cost. How much are you going to need to budget? Sometimes how much are you going to need to raise? Well, you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to share real-life examples of different types of products, how much they cost to develop, how much they cost to put into production, and also give you an indication of the return on investment, as it's important to consider the benefits alongside the costs. I'm going to share two critical tips at the end for how you can keep your development and manufacturing costs minimal and how you can stick to your budget, so keep watching for that. Hi there, I'm Phil, product innovator and founder of D2M, a product design company that has helped hundreds of businesses and startups to turn their product ideas into successful products. Now, product development costs vary massively. It depends on a huge number of factors: size of the item, complexity, the number of moving parts, whether it's got electronics, maybe it's got textiles, and it's got hard goods like plastics and metals. Well, that can add to the cost as well. Now, in the examples I'm going to share, they're very different product types, which gives you an indication of overall costs, and hopefully you can have a look at your project and see with those examples roughly how much yours might cost. Now, it might be that your product is dissimilar from any of the examples I'm going to share. Well, my company D2M will be happy to provide a quote for your specific project under a confidentiality agreement. Do check out the link in the description below. The cost of manufacture varies with a huge number of different things as well, but particularly with location for your manufacturer and also the volumes that you want to produce. Obviously, the complexity is going to affect things hugely as well. And generally speaking, if you've got a textile-based product, there's not much setup cost for production. And if you've got a lot of plastic components that are all bespoke, then you can end up with a high cost before you can go into production because of all the injection mold tools to produce those custom plastic parts. Before we get into the examples, please do check out the fantastic free ebook that is linked in the description below. Do get your copy today. There are a few other costs that are involved in launching new products as well that you might want to consider alongside the cost of product development and production. Now, they are IP costs and legal, testing and certification. They are the marketing costs for actually getting your product out there and getting your first sales. And it's also worth considering unexpected challenges and things that come up that you weren't expecting. We always recommend that you work out your budget and then allow a 15% contingency, because nothing ever runs entirely smoothly in innovative product development. The first example is a relatively simple product. It's called Couch Coaster, and it basically holds a drink securely on the arm of a sofa. Now, this cost about £15,000 in design and prototyping and getting it ready for manufacture. It cost about the same again to tool it up, and that was in the Far East, and it needed those £15,000 of mold tools before the parts could be created. But here's the exciting part. Within about 6 months of launch, Barry actually got an order for 7,000 units from an international distributor, and that covered all of his costs to date. It covered all the design costs, all of the tooling costs, and from then on, he was into profit on his orders. So his return on investment was very, very quick indeed. His products, along with a couple of other products in the range as well, now turn over £800,000 a year. Not bad for a one-man business. Now, moving on to Riot Rucksack. This is a textile product. There's no hard goods in it at all, so there were no manufacturing setup costs at all. The design development was quite expensive. It cost about £20,000, and we needed to go through about 3 prototypes before we got everything spot on for the target customer. The client, Sarah, launched a Kickstarter campaign to pay for the first production batch, and that raised £64,000. And actually that covered the whole cost of the first batch, all of the shipping and the design development costs. So within about 3 months of completing the product development cycle, she covered all of the money she put in terms of investment, and from then on was into profit. She now has a whole range of products. She's run multiple crowdfunding campaigns and done exceptionally well with her product. Now let's talk about the R1 Push golf trolley. Now this is at the higher end of costs for developing a product. There's a lot of bespoke plastic components. It's got a complicated folding mechanism. It doesn't have electronics, but nevertheless, the cost for developing something like this is around £80,000. And the tooling cost for this actually came in around £160,000 because there are so many plastic components. So it is a significant upfront cost to invest in a product like this. But for our client, Stuart Golf, that's paid for itself many times over. The product has a higher margin than their previous Chinese-sourced product, and also this product has opened up new global markets for them and helped them grow their business. In fact, last year, the Sunday Times listed them as one of the 100 fastest growing companies in the UK. Finally, let's look at an electronic product. This is Timerstat. There's some electronics in there for a boiler controller. There's also some unique casing designs, and all in, this cost about £35,000 with the electronics and the product development to get it to a point of being ready to go into production. Now the tooling cost for this product was about £20,000. That's because there's a couple of casing halves and a back plate, so there were 3 plastic components that needed big injection mold tools. So that's quite a lot of cost. However, since then, Anthony has done really well with his business. He's launched multiple different products within his range, and he's now turning over £250,000 a year from this product. The return on investment has been remarkable, and recently the business has been valued at over £1 million. Not bad for an initial £55,000 investment. As you can see, the cost of product development and putting something into production varies hugely depending on the type of materials, the complexity, the size of the product, and various other factors as well. Now here are 2 top tips for keeping your costs down and sticking within your budget. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get all notifications about our latest videos. Firstly, have a really clear brief and make sure that you stick to that. And if you do need to change from that, because sometimes you might, then check all of the costs associated with moving from that and make sure that you only ever move from that brief for really solid, rational reasons. And you don't want to change the brief to create something that is less likely to be bought by your customer or is going to cost more when the customer buys it, because that's only going to decrease your sales volumes. So have a really good reason to change from that initial brief. And if you can stick with it, then you'll minimize the number of changes and you'll minimize the costs as a result. Second top tip, always design a minimum viable product. This doesn't mean it's a bad product, it still needs to be a great product that customers will want to buy and will write positive reviews about. But strip away anything that isn't essential to achieve that. You can always add in new features and functionality on generation 2 of your product once you're post revenue. Remember, understanding product development costs and the costs of going into production will help you make better informed decisions, and it will help you plan your product development journey more effectively. It also will help you plan for when you might need investment and what rounds you want to do in terms of getting that investment into the business at the right time. Be diligent in your planning, work with professionals who can give you best estimates for costs going forward, and be very nervous about anyone who quotes exactly for the whole project, because inevitably things will always move and it's very difficult for anyone to know exactly what it's going to cost, say 6 months down the line when you're into the final stages of designing your product. Do check out this video now, which is an in-depth case study into that product we looked at earlier, the R1 Push Trolley.